Good morning, good morning, good morning, Facebook, and everyone else that is watching. Good morning. This is Torian Ojo, your girl from the Victor Real Estate Group. And as always, on Monday at 8 a.m., I'm going to try to give you some real estate tips in 8 minutes or under. So for the next couple of lives, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to cover a topic, and I'm going to split it into two different broadcasts, if that makes any sense. So today we're going to talk about basically getting your house ready, or the cost of selling your house. And we're going to divide it into two different sections. Today we're going to split it to the first part, which is what you need to do before you put your house on the market. And we're strictly today just talking about the expenses that you would need to take into consideration when you are thinking about putting your house on the market. So today, real quickly, again, I'm going to try and keep you guys for no less than 8 minutes. So I want to talk about, prior to listing, some of the things that you will need to consider the expenses in putting your house up for sale. So the first thing I want to talk about is, obviously, the appearance of your house really matters. So we need to make sure that it is clean and inviting when people come in. So the first thing is we need to talk about the price of cleaning your home. Your home needs to look literally sparkling clean. So when we're talking about this, again, depending on the price of your home, that's something that you would want to consider looking at. And again, everything you will need to talk with, we would need to discuss together and get a workable list together so that we can manage the expenses. As always, for anything and everything that you would need, I would absolutely have a list of vendors that we can look to that will give us quotes so that we'll know how much you can go ahead and put aside to get your house ready, market ready. So when we're talking about cleaning, well, of course, I have to call a couple of cleaning companies if you want it. I've got a couple actually on speed dial that will come to your home, and they will we'll tell them specifically what we need done, and they will give you quotes. So that way you will have that ready. Secondly, we always talk about first impressions matter, right? So when we're talking about first impressions mattering, when people pull up to your home, and we've talked about this before, we'll talk about curb appeal, specifically landscaping. Landscaping goes a long way. Most people at least that I've seen, for the most part, their landscaping looks okay. But again, when you want to put your home on the market, you want to put your best foot forward, you want to make it pop a little bit, and you might want to spruce some things up. So again, if most people have their own landscaping person, but if you need those vendors, I do have quite a few, again, at my fingertips that we can invite to come over, and they can take a look at what we need or what we want to have done, and they will give you quotes. So that would, and the biggest thing about this is that we really want to have real life quotes that we're working with. Most people's quotes are good for about 30 to 45 days. So we want to have real life quotes that we can work with so that you can really, really manage those expenses. And then the next thing that we want to talk about is we want to talk about the repairs and maintenance of your home. Obviously, most of us, as we live in the house, we generally, most people keep their home pretty good. But when you're getting ready to go on the market, there's certain things that, maybe you're just used to, or maybe you don't even notice, that you might need a fresh eye to take a look at. And there may be things that you know about that definitely we need to address before we put the house on the market. There could be big repairs, and they could be little things, such as, maybe there's a couple of light bulbs that need to be replaced. Again, you're just used to using that space or that room in your house with dimmed lights or just few light bulbs working. But little details like that, we need to make sure that we take a look at, and we need to make sure that everything is working properly. So again, it could be, and it could be repairs. It could be something like I have one of the bathrooms in my home that, because it is a guest bathroom and it's not used very often, when you flush it sometimes, it's like the water still continues to go. We know that it doesn't bother us that much because, again, that bathroom doesn't get used very often. But when we get, if we were to put this house on the market, or if we were anticipating putting this house on the market, those are things that now we definitely need to pay attention to, and we'll definitely make sure that it gets fixed. So it could be big things, it could be little things. The most important thing is get a couple of vendors out there, let them know what the list of to-do items to fix, and then give us a quote on how much that will fix. Again, quotes are good for about 30 to 45 days. So that will give you an idea in terms of repairs, whether big or small, things that we need to make sure that we get done before we put the house on the market. And then there's some homes that you may want to actually, in addition to repairs, you may want to make some improvements, and you may want to do some upgrades, some quick things. And I know I've talked about this before, quick things that you can do to really spruce up your home, and not as expensive. You can do a painting. You can paint the house. Sometimes when you paint, maybe a different color, maybe a fresher, color may make it pop more. It may, depending on the color that we use, it may actually, either open up the house or accentuate a wall that we might want to accentuate. So painting is a really good way to really improve the look of your home, and probably one of the most economical things. And then you can decide to do, upgrades. That's completely up to you. When I talk to my clients about upgrades, one of the things that we look at is we look at the price of upgrades, and we look at the ROI, the return on that investment. So say, for instance, if you want to redo like a whole bathroom, and if it costs you like $20,000 to redo that bathroom, are you going to get that $20,000 back? Or are you going to get back more, or are you going to get back less? For some people, spending $20,000 to get $20,000 back may not necessarily be worth it to them. However, when we're talking about dollar to dollar, sometimes it's not so much are you going to make that money back, but there are things, intangible things like, will your house sell quicker? Will your house, get more offers if you get that, whether it's a room or whether it's something, an upgrade that you want to do. So you may not get that investment back dollar for dollar, but you may get it back in an intangible factor of, are we able to move this house quicker? Are we able to sell it more because it's more appealing to the buyers that come in to take a look at the house? So those are things that, again, with me, we would review, we would talk about, and make sure that that financially works for you and what you're trying to get out of the house. And the last thing we're going to talk about in terms of getting your house ready on the, before you list it today is we're going to talk about staging. Staging has become more and more important because it is now we're now considered we're in a buyer's market. So as sellers, we need to do more in terms of making the house more appealing, and making the house look more desirable to the seller. So it's very important. Again, I've got a few staging companies that I use, depending on the house, but depending on your budget, we will come and bring the staging company to the home. We will tell them the rooms that we want staged. And sometimes if your home is already furnished, like if you're living in your home, if it's already furnished, you may want to bring some just little key things, and it could be like maybe an accent chair on one corner of the house. It could be some towels and stuff that may pop a bathroom that's not as used as your main bathroom. So little things that a staging company can do that, again, their expertise would help us make the house more inviting and would allow the buyers that come in to be able to see themselves in that house, which of course is going to make it, which of course is going to make it more attractive to the prospective buyer. So today, those are the things that I want to bring to your attention. Again, just some items to look at from a financial perspective before you put your home on the market. Because one of the things as your agent we're going to do is that we're going to look at your budget, and we're going to make sure that we look at items that fit that budget. And also we're going to look at the return on that investment to make sure that it's worth it. Okay, again, we don't hold a magic ball. We don't know what the market is going to do. And one thing that I always tell my sellers is that I have the data to give you based on what we're going to do with your home and based on what's selling in the area. We have the data to tell you what your house may sell for. But until we put your house on the market, you engage what the market is telling us about your house. we don't know specifically what's going to happen. So at the end of the day, the market will tell us how much it likes your house and what it's willing to do. Just keep in mind that, again, it is becoming more and more a buyer's market. So we're having longer days on the market to sell most homes. All right. As always, it's your girl, Tonyin Ojo Alao, and I am with the Victor Group. If you have any questions whatsoever, whether it's about your home, if you're thinking about selling, or if you just basically want us to come over and take a look at your home and give you an idea of what needs to be done, we're happy to do that and to give you an assessment and a consultation, all free of charge. Give me a call, 919-903-4125. Thank you so much for tuning in and for listening, and I will see you guys next week. Talk soon. Bye-bye.